I mean, Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures. And look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show?
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it.
Yeah, it's nothing.
After news broke that her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Host, is linked to a major RICO fraud case, Joe Rogan didn't hold back. He openly criticized Sunny Hostin's stance, and the reaction has been intense. According to the indictment, Host and his medical practice allegedly ran an insurance fraud scheme, performing unnecessary procedures and even accepting cash bribes. It's a serious accusation, and it's not just affecting their personal lives. It's also sparked backlash toward The View, a show known for its strong moral opinions and political commentary. Rogan pointed out what he sees as a clear contradiction. For years, Sunny has pushed for accountability and systemic change. But now, her husband is tied to one of the largest RICO cases in New York. Rogan questioned why someone who's usually so vocal on controversial issues has stayed unusually quiet about this situation. The American Transit Insurance Company claims that Host and several other medical professionals defrauded insurers by carrying out unnecessary treatments on taxi, Uber, and Lyft drivers, then profiting from those claims. The lawsuit names over 180 defendants, suggesting this could be part of a much bigger network. As Sunny continues to avoid making any public statement, more people are starting to question her credibility. The big questions are still up in the air. Will this case change how the public sees her? Will Dr. Host be proven guilty? One thing's for sure, this story is just getting started.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Instead of Sunny Hostin's usual sharp commentary on The View, the spotlight that morning shifted to her husband, renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Manny Host, who is now facing serious federal charges including insurance fraud, kickbacks, and alleged involvement in one of the largest RICO cases in New York. This goes far beyond a typical celebrity scandal. It's a major legal shock. Host is accused of working with other medical professionals and a scheme to exploit the healthcare system, billing insurance companies for unnecessary treatments, and performing additional arthroscopic surgeries in exchange for kickbacks. Some patients reportedly went through procedures without even knowing their insurance providers were being charged for them. It's also alleged that Host financially benefited from recommending arthroscopic surgery, a minimally invasive joint procedure, even in cases where it may not have been needed. That raises a troubling question. Were these patients unknowingly caught up in a multi-million-dollar scheme, or did they genuinely require medical care? If it turns out to be the former, this could stand as one of the most shocking medical betrayals in recent memory.
I want a citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
Joe Rogan quickly turned his attention to Sunny Hostin and The View, calling out what he sees as clear hypocrisy. Known for his blunt, no-filter style, Rogan didn't hold back. He mocked the host's moral stance and even threw in a joke about triple-digit IQs, a line that definitely caught the audience's attention. The View has built its reputation on calling out public figures and positioning itself as a kind of moral authority, but this time, the silence feels hard to ignore. Sunny, who's usually quick to highlight wrongdoing and demand accountability, has mostly stepped away from the conversation since news of her husband's legal troubles came out. It raises the question, is she waiting for the controversy to die down? or deliberately staying out of it. Meanwhile, the American Transit Insurance Company claims that Host and others defrauded them of millions through unnecessary or even fabricated claims, putting even more pressure on an already growing scandal.
It's always the people that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for the...
But here's the twist. Is this really an honest attempt to expose corruption, or just a last-ditch move to shift the blame? Insurance companies themselves have faced years of criticism for unethical practices, like underpaying doctors and denying legitimate claims. Sunny Hostin's legal team pushed back, arguing that the American Transit Insurance Company is using this lawsuit to dodge financial responsibility, insisting the case has no real foundation. According to them, the company is deflecting instead of genuinely uncovering fraud. Still, that defense, placing the blame elsewhere, has only added fuel to public outrage. With Dr. Host listed among more than 180 defendants, the case points to a wide network of alleged misconduct in the medical field. If these charges hold up, this had become one of the biggest medical fraud scandals in recent history. The thought that trusted medical professionals might exploit the system for personal gain is both shocking and frustrating. Rogan didn't hold back either. He slammed the show, calling it a rabies-infected henhouse that feeds on controversy while dodging accountability. He also pointed out how The View has gone after conservatives and other public figures over transparency and responsibility, yet seems to ignore its own situation. That perceived double standard set off Rogan's followers, many of whom took to social media to voice their anger.
According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers.
The controversy is only growing, especially with Sunny Hostin's unusual silence. It's the kind of quiet that speaks louder than words. These are still just allegations, and Dr. Host has not been found guilty, but the legal battle is only getting started. With so many high-profile names involved, this case is quickly turning into a major spectacle. Sunny is usually someone who faces controversy head-on, but when it comes to her husband's legal troubles, she's chosen to stay quiet, leaving everything in the hands of her attorneys. It raises the possibility that she's trying to protect her career while the situation unfolds.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a rabies infested.
Or perhaps she knows more than she's revealing. Beyond the legal drama, the situation raises serious questions about public trust in healthcare. When medical professionals are accused of putting profit over patient care, confidence in the system begins to erode. This crisis is far from over, and the legal battle is only expected to intensify as new details come out. Will Dr. Host be convicted? And will Sunny finally break her silence and address the issue?
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay, now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Twites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread insurance.
How will the public respond to all of this? Patients should never be left wondering whether their procedures were truly necessary or just part of a profit-driven scheme. And if insurance companies are using legal loopholes to avoid paying valid claims, and the problem may be far bigger than it first appeared. The fallout is still unfolding. Share your thoughts below. Do you see this as a last-ditch effort by the insurance company to protect itself, or is Dr. Host actually responsible for defrauding the system? And what about Sunny Hostin? Does her silence call for accountability, or does it deserve understanding in the middle of all this controversy?